This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
We're here at the Alhambra, okay? How was that? And I want to just explain a little bit of the Jewish significance. Before that, we have to know of one of the great Jewish personalities of all time, Rav Shmuel Hanagid. Rav Shmuel Hanagid was from the generation of the first Rishonim. Okay, this is very important. Who were the first three Rishonim? There's a lot of misconception about that. Some people say the Beis Yosef, the Abarbanel. It was earlier. The first generation of Rishonim was A. Rav Shmuel Hanagid, B. Rav Nissim Goyin, C. Rabbeinu Hananel. These are the first three Rishonim. Shmuel Hanagid was born in Cordoba in 993. He starts off, he is educated in religious matters, he's educated in secular studies. He's a student of Rav Chanoich ben Rav Moshe. Rav Moshe was one of the Arba Shvuyim. His son was Rabbeinu Chanoich. Shmuel Hanagid was his student. There's a civil war in Cordova in 1012. Suleiman was victorious. So Shmuel Hanagid has to run away. He comes to Malaga. So here's the story about how Rav Shmuel Hanagid rose in power. Shmuel Hanagid is a shopkeeper. And with many Rabbanim, they're very good statesmen, politician, but they can't make a buck. So Shmuel Hanagid is an unsuccessful storekeeper, but he's a great writer. The vizier is writing letters for the Sultan. Shmuel Hanagid, meanwhile, the vizier got wind that Shmuel Hanagid was a very good writer, so he used Shmuel Hanagid's skills. He took Shmuel Hanagid, he told Shmuel, here, he slipped him a few bucks, and Shmuel Hanagid secretly was the writer for the Sultan. The Sultan never knew. The vizier is on his deathbed. The Sultan comes, the Sultan says, Chaval al da'avdin v'loy mishtakchen, it's Chaval, you're about to die, who's going to write for me? So the vizier spills the beans, it wasn't me, it was Samuel, Shmuel Hanagid. So Shmuel Hanagid is promoted, and now he becomes Hanagid, he becomes the great Nasi. There's a lot of jealousy from the Arabs that this Jew is rising up in power. Everyone calls him, the Jews call him Shmuel Hanagid, the Arabs call him Ibn Nagdila. Now, the king at the time was King Chabas. He dies in 1037. I know you can't imagine such a thing, but now there's contention among the two sons who should take over to be the king. Shmuel Hanagid sided with Badis, the older son, but he was a Das Yachid. Badis wrestles away control of the kingdom. And now Shmuel Hanagid is ascending in power because he's the only one who had the foresight that the Bechar would be successful. He's appointed commander-in-chief of Granada. Shmuel Hanagid, he's commander-in-chief. He builds a palace. This area is the palace of Shmuel Hanagid. Badis is a self-indulgent king. He doesn't know if he's coming, he doesn't know if he's going. Shmuel Hanagid became the most powerful individual in this entire region. Shmuel Hanagid. In that capacity, he opens up a big Talmudic academy. He's very wealthy. He sends money to Bavel. He funds the Babylonian yeshivas of Surah and Pumbedisa. He opens up a tremendous library. He writes Mavai HaTalmud. He wrote a work called Hilchasa Gevorta. And he becomes the first generation of all the Rishon. He was a very tolerant person. Here we'll conclude with one story. Before he rose to great power, and he's writing for the Sultan, one of the Arabs once insulted Shmuel Hanagid. So the Sultan said, I give you permission, cut off his tongue. Shmuel Hanagid said, I will do that. A little while later, they're passing by the Arab's house, and the Arab comes running out, and he heaps praise on Shmuel Hanagid. And the Sultan says, I thought I told you to cut off his tongue. And Shmuel Hanagid said, I did. I sent him a gift, and his bad tongue was transformed to a good tongue. So indeed, I did cut off his tongue. Now, he fought all the wars as general commander-in-chief of the Granadan force. But from the battlefield, he always sent messages to his children, sending them lessons, inquiring about what they're learning. He was also a paragon educator and father. His son takes over, Rav Yehoshef Hanagid. Now, Yehoshef Hanagid marries the daughter of Rabbeinu Nisim. So now Shmuel Hanagid and Rabbeinu Nisim are mechutanim. Yeah? You look on the side of every Gemara, especially brachos, you have the comments of Rav Nisim Goyin. So they're not only mechutanim, they're mechutanim in the Gemara. Because in Masechta brachos, you have Rav Nisim Goyin, and in the back of the Masechta, Rav Shmuel Hanagid. So when you become mechutanim, you become connected in ways you never would have thought imaginable. So, Yehosef Hanagid is as wise as his father. His problem was he grew up in wealth. So he never learned the political skill of how to diffuse his enemies and those who were jealous of him. Shmuel Hanagid started off poor, so he was always sensitive. Maybe people are jealous of him. The son grew up in wealth, and therefore he had many enemies. One day, the Arabs got so angry, they stormed his house on Shabbos, they brutally murdered him, and now he has an almana, he has a yasaim, and they run off, and they run to Lucina, where we're headed. Okay? They run up to Lucina. In Lucina is Rabbi Yitzchak ibn Giyas. He wants to groom Azariah, the son of Yehosef Hanagid, to be the next leader of Klal Yisrael. They had a lot of hope for him. Nebuch, this boy, died at 12 years old, and that was the end of the dynasty of the Hanagid family. So this is the purported area of the actual palace of the most prominent Jew, perhaps in the last 1,000 years, Rav Shmuel Hanagid. Good.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.